Hi folks, in this video we're going to look at if something has already been increased or decreased by an amount, and we want to figure out what the original amount was. So for example, let's say something has been decreased. Let's say something has been decreased by 20%. Something was decreased by 20%. After it was decreased by 20%, it's now £440. So that's the new amount. So someone's taken an amount of money, they've taken 20% away from it, they've decreased it by 20%, now it's £440. What was it originally? Well, we need to now think of this as not 100%. This isn't 100% anymore because it's been decreased by 20%. So that means that the new amount is going to be 80% of what it was originally. So we need to think of 440 as being equal to 80%. That is the first and most important step. So 440 is equal to 80%, not 100%, because it's already been decreased by 20%. If it was increased by 20% and this was the new amount, then this would be 120%. But it's been decreased by 20%, so this is now equal to 80%. Once you've got your head around that and you've understood that, that's 99% of the difficulty in questions like this. Alright, so £440 is equal to 80%. How do we make that 100%? Well, we could think of it in a couple of different ways. If we're just typing it on a calculator, we could divide by 80 and times by 100, and that would be it. So if you divide by the amount that it is after being increased or decreased, which is not 100%, and then you multiply it by 100%, then you get the original amount. So if you've got a calculator, just do that. If you don't have a calculator, we need to reduce 80% down to something that goes into 100. So if we were to half it, let's say we found 40%, 40 doesn't go into 100, as in 100 isn't in the 40 times tables. So let's half it again. That would give us 20%. 20 does go into 100 because 5 20s are 100. So let's do that. If we quarter this, we'll get 20%. Even though a quarter really is equal to 25%, that's because a quarter of 100% is 25%. A quarter of 80% is 20%. So if we quarter this, we'll get 20%. Let's half it first. That'll give us 40%. Even though a half is equal to 50%, half of 80% is equal to 40%. Half of 440, if we just half the 4s, is 220. And then half of 220 is 110. So 110 is 20% of the original amount. And then let's multiply that by 5, because 20% times 5 is 100%. And 110 times 5 is just, if we multiply the 1s by 5, 550. So the original amount was £550. If we were to decrease that by 20%, it would become £440. We could work that out to check our answer at the end as well. Alright, we'll do one more example. Let's say we have an amount that has been increased. So something was increased by, let's say, 30%. And now, after being increased by 30%, the new amount is, let's say, an amount of money again. All of this works with not money, like, say, if it could be litres, or it could be volume, or it could be anything. But I'm just using money in these examples just because why not? Because money's great. Alright, so let's say something's been increased by 30%, and the new amount after it's been increased is something that will probably go would be best. Let's say 3,900. And then it's not a decimal. Alright, so what's the new amount? What percentage is the new amount? It's not 100% because it's increased by 30%. So that means it's 130%. So this we need to think of as 130%. Alright, so now we need to reduce this down by something that goes into 100%, which is a bit tricky. with 130. If we think of the factors of 130, which of those go into 100? Well, 130, we could think of it as 10 times 13, which would be 5 times 2 times 13. 10 goes into 100, but 13 doesn't. So let's find 10% by dividing both sides by 13. That will give us 10%. I think that's the easiest way to deal with this. Remember, of course, we could just divide this by 130 times it by 100, and that would work as well. Alright, so let's find 10%. That's 1/13 of 130, so we need to divide this by 13, which it does go, thankfully. It does actually divide, but dividing by 13 doesn't sound very nice. Let's do a little bit of short division. It ends up not being too bad. Alright, so 13s into 3 doesn't go. 13s into 39, that goes 3 times. 13, 26, 39. So let's put a 3. There's no remainder. 13s into 0 is 0. 13s into 0 is 0. It's 300. So 10% is just 300. Now we know 10%, we can find 100% because we can multiply it by 10. 10 tens are 100. 300 times 10 is 3,000, and that was the original amount. We could think of that as increasing by 30%. Well, 10% of 3,000 is 300. 3 of those is 900. If we increase that by £900, we would get £3,900. So the original amount must have been £3,000.